Listen carefully because this might save you from a mistake that doesn't just cost you a relationship, it costs you your dignity, your peace, and sometimes even your self-respect. There is one thing older men do with younger women that quietly destroys everything, and most don't even realize they're doing it. You see, there's something deeply misunderstood about the dynamic between an older man and a younger woman. On the surface, it can feel exciting, refreshing, almost like you've been given a second chance at life. Her energy, her laughter, her curiosity, it wakes something up inside you that you thought was long gone. And for a moment, you don't feel older, you feel alive. But here's where most men go wrong. They start chasing that feeling instead of standing firmly in who they are. And that's the first mistake you must never make. Because the moment you begin to chase her validation, you slowly lose your value. Not just in her eyes, but in your own. I've seen it happen more times than I can count. A man who once carried himself with confidence, with wisdom, with calm authority, he suddenly becomes someone else. He starts over-explaining himself. He starts trying to impress. He starts adjusting his personality, his habits, even his boundaries, just to keep her attention. And he doesn't notice the shift, but she does. A younger woman is far more perceptive than you think. She might not articulate it, she might not even fully understand it, but she feels it. She feels when a man is grounded in his truth, and she feels when he's trying too hard to hold on to her. And the moment she feels that desperation, something changes. At first, it's subtle. Her replies become shorter. Her excitement fades just a little. The way she looks at you shifts from admiration to something closer to curiosity and eventually distance. Not because she's cruel, but because you stopped being the man she was drawn to in the first place. Let me tell you a story. There was a man, successful, respected, someone people looked up to. He met a younger woman who brought light into his world. She admired him deeply in the beginning. His calm presence, his life experience, the way he spoke with intention, it fascinated her. But over time, he started changing. He began canceling his own plans just to be available for her. He started texting constantly, seeking reassurance. He laughed at things he didn't even find funny, just to keep her engaged. Slowly, without realizing it, he handed over his power. And what happened? She didn't feel closer to him. She felt less attracted, because what initially drew her in was his strength, his stability, his sense of self, and he traded all of that for approval. That's the one thing you must never do. Never trade your identity for attention, because the truth is, attraction isn't built on how much you give up for someone. It's built on how deeply you stand in who you are. When you're an older man, your greatest strength is not trying to be young again. It's not competing with younger men. It's not bending yourself into someone she might like more. Your power lies in your groundedness, your life experience, your emotional control, your ability to walk away from anything that doesn't respect your worth. But the moment you forget that, the moment you start acting from fear instead of confidence, you lose everything that made you attractive in the first place. And here's something most people won't tell you. A younger woman doesn't need you to be perfect. She doesn't need you to impress her every second. What she responds to is authenticity. When you are real, when you are centered, when you don't feel the need to prove yourself, that's when she feels safe. That's when she leans in. That's when the connection becomes something deeper than surface-level excitement. But when you start performing, she starts disconnecting, because performance creates pressure, and pressure kills genuine connection. So if there's one lesson you take from this, let it be this: never lose yourself trying to keep someone. Because the right connection will never require you to abandon your identity, and the wrong one will slowly take it from you if you're not careful. This isn't about control. It's not about playing games. It's about understanding your value and refusing to negotiate it. Because when a man truly understands his worth, he doesn't chase, he attracts. And that changes everything. And here's where the lesson deepens. Because what I'm about to tell you is where most men lose control without even realizing it. After they begin chasing, after they start bending themselves to keep her interest, something even more dangerous happens. They begin to overinvest emotionally far too quickly. This is the second thing you must never do. Because when an older man pours his entire emotional world into a younger woman too soon, it doesn't create closeness, it creates imbalance. And imbalance always leads to loss. You have to understand something very real, something very honest. You and her are not in the same phase of life. You carry years of experience, lessons, scars, and understanding. She, on the other hand, is still exploring, still discovering, still figuring out who she is and what she truly wants. And there's nothing wrong with that, but the mistake happens when you expect her to meet you at your level of emotional depth before she's even had the time to grow into it. I've seen men open up completely within days, sharing their deepest fears, their past heartbreaks, their long-term expectations, speaking about commitment, loyalty, forever when the connection is still fragile, still new, still undefined. And in their mind, they think they're being genuine, they think they're showing honesty, but what they're actually doing is overwhelming her. Because emotional intensity, when it comes too fast, doesn't feel like love, it feels like pressure. And pressure makes people step back. Let me paint this picture for you. A man meets a younger woman, and everything feels right. The conversations flow, the connection feels strong, and for the first time in years, he feels understood. So he leans in harder. He starts prioritizing her above everything else. His world begins to revolve around her presence. And without realizing it, he begins to expect the same energy in return, but she doesn't match it, not because she doesn't care, but because she's not there yet. And when he notices the difference, he becomes anxious. He questions her interest. He starts asking more, seeking reassurance, needing confirmation that she feels the same way. And that's when things begin to crack, because attraction doesn't grow under expectation. It grows in space. It grows when two people are allowed to come closer naturally, not when one is pulling the other forward. A younger woman needs room to feel her own emotions. She needs time to choose, you not feel like she's being emotionally led into something she didn't fully arrive at on her own. And when you rush that process, you take away the very thing that builds genuine connection, choice. You see, when a woman chooses you freely, without pressure, without expectation, without emotional weight placed on her shoulders, that connection becomes real. But when she feels like she has to meet your pace, she starts to withdraw, silently, gradually, until one day she's no longer there in the way she once was. And you're left confused, wondering what changed, but the truth is, nothing changed overnight. It shifted slowly, moment by moment, every time you asked for more than she was ready to give. This is why patience is not just important, it's essential, especially in a dynamic like this, because your maturity should never become a burden for her. It should be a source of calm, a space where she feels safe to grow into the connection, not rushed into it. And here's the irony. When you slow down, when you stop overinvesting, when you allow things to unfold naturally, that's when she leans in more. That's when her curiosity deepens. That's when she begins to match your energy, not because she has to, but because she wants to. And that desire, that genuine pull, is what creates something meaningful, not force, not urgency, not emotional overload. So remember this: never give all of yourself too soon, not because you should hold back who you are, but because timing matters. Depth must be built, not poured out all at once, because real connection is not about how fast you can get there. It's about how naturally it unfolds. And when you understand that, you stop trying to control the outcome. You start allowing it to happen, and that changes everything. And now we come to a truth that is even harder to accept because it challenges something deep inside most men. The third thing you must never do is try to control her. Not her choices, not her behavior, not her lifestyle. Because the moment you step into control, you step out of respect. And without respect, no connection, no matter how exciting it once felt, can survive. You see, when an older man is with a younger woman, there is often an unspoken temptation. He feels like he knows better. He believes his experience gives him the right to guide, to correct, to shape her decisions. At first, it doesn't even look like control. It looks like advice. It sounds like concern. It feels like protection. But slowly it becomes something else. It becomes restriction. It becomes judgment. It becomes a quiet pressure for her to become someone she didn't choose to be. And here's the truth most men don't want to hear. A younger woman is not looking for a father. She is not looking to be molded. She is not looking to be managed. She is looking to feel free even in connection, especially in connection. Let me tell you something real. The more you try to control someone, the more they feel the need to escape you. Not because they don't care, but because control suffocates identity. And identity is everything to someone who is still discovering who they are. I remember a man who thought he was doing everything right. He would tell her how to dress more appropriately. He would question her friends, her choices, the way she spent her time. He believed he was guiding her toward a better path, but what he didn't realize was that every correction felt like criticism. Every suggestion felt like limitation, and every limitation made her feel smaller, until one day she didn't argue anymore. She didn't explain, she simply left, not with anger but with clarity, because she realized that being with him meant losing parts of herself. And no connection is worth that. You have to understand this deeply. Respect is not shown by controlling someone's life. Respect is shown by allowing them to live it, even when it's different from yours, even when you don't fully agree, even when you know they might make mistakes, because growth does not come from being controlled, it comes from being trusted. And if you truly care about her, you don't try to shape her into your version of what she should be. You allow her to become who she is meant to be, and here's where the real strength lies, not in telling her what to do, but in choosing whether her path aligns with yours, because that is where your power is, not in changing her, but in deciding what you accept. This is what emotional maturity looks like. It's not dominance, it's discernment. You don't raise your voice. You don't impose rules. You don't manipulate outcomes. You observe, you understand, and you choose. And when a woman feels that she is not being controlled, something shifts. She relaxes. She opens up. She feels safe enough to be herself without fear of judgment. And ironically, that's when she starts valuing your presence even more. Because you become a place of peace, not pressure. But the moment you try to take control, you become something she needs to escape from. So remember this: never try to control a younger woman, because the more freedom she feels with you, the deeper the connection can grow. And the moment she feels trapped, the connection is already over, even if she hasn't walked away yet. Strength is not about holding someone tightly. It's about knowing they can leave and still choosing to stand in your own center. And that kind of strength is rare. And now we arrive at the final truth, the one that quietly destroys more connections than anything else, yet almost no one talks about it openly. The fourth thing you must never do is lose your purpose trying to make her your priority. This is where everything comes full circle. Because a man without direction, without purpose, without something greater than the relationship, will always end up placing emotional weight on the woman that no relationship can carry. And when that happens, attraction fades, respect weakens, and the connection slowly collapses under pressure. You have to understand this clearly. A younger woman may admire you, may enjoy your presence, may even feel deeply connected to you, but she is not meant to become the center of your life. The moment she becomes your everything, you start losing everything. I've seen men who built entire lives, careers, passions, routines, identities slowly abandon all of it the moment they feel emotionally attached to a younger woman. Their focus shifts, their discipline weakens, their purpose fades into the background, and they don't notice it at first. Because it feels like love, it feels like devotion, it feels like they are finally giving someone their full attention. But in reality, they are losing the very foundation that made them valuable in the first place. Let me tell you something that might be hard to accept. A woman is attracted to the man you are when you are living your purpose, not the man you become when you abandon it for her. Because purpose creates structure, it creates direction, it creates a life that she can step into, not a life that depends entirely on her presence. And when you lose that, you create pressure. You begin to expect her to fill your time, your emotions, your sense of meaning. And no one, no matter how much they care about you, can carry that responsibility without eventually feeling overwhelmed. I once knew a man who had everything in order. He had discipline, routine, a strong sense of direction. When he met a younger woman, he felt inspired, energized, alive in a way he hadn't felt in years. But slowly, he began to change. He started skipping his work to spend more time with her. He neglected his goals, his commitments, his personal growth. His world became smaller, centered entirely around her, and at first she enjoyed the attention, but over time something shifted. She began to feel the weight of being his entire world. She noticed he no longer had the same drive, the same focus, the same sense of independence that once attracted her. And without realizing it, her attraction faded because what she admired was gone, and what remained was a man who needed her more than he led himself. And that is where everything breaks, because attraction thrives in presence, not dependence, in strength, not neediness, in a life that is already full, not one that is waiting to be completed. You see, when you have purpose, you don't cling. You don't chase, you don't overthink every moment, because your life is already moving forward with or without her. And that energy, that grounded independence, is what creates lasting attraction, not because you ignore her, not because you distance yourself, but because you remain rooted in something bigger than the relationship. That's what creates balance, that's what creates respect. That's what creates a connection that feels natural, not forced. So remember this deeply: never make her the center of your world. Invite her into your world, a world that already has direction, a world that already has meaning, a world that does not collapse if she walks away, because when you live like that, you don't just attract someone. You keep your self-respect intact no matter what happens. And in the end, that is what truly matters. Because relationships may come and go, but the man you become stays with you forever. And now, after everything we've spoken about, everything you've felt, everything that may have quietly reflected parts of your own life, let me leave you with something deeper than advice. Let me leave you with truth. Because at the end of the day, this was never just about a younger woman. It was always about you, your standards, your identity, your self-respect. You see, the biggest mistake an older man can make is not in how he treats a woman. It's in how he forgets himself in the process of trying to keep her. And the moment you forget who you are, you lose everything that made you worth choosing in the first place. But here's the powerful part. You can choose differently. You can choose to stand firm in your identity without becoming rigid. You can choose to care deeply without losing control. You can choose to connect without becoming dependent. And when you do that, something changes, not just in how women see you, but in how you see yourself. Because confidence is not built by being desired. It's built by knowing you will be okay even if you are not. That's the kind of strength that cannot be taken from you. That's the kind of presence that doesn't beg for attention, it commands respect without asking for it. And the truth is, the right woman, regardless of her age, will never require you to abandon your values, your purpose, or your peace just to be with her. She will meet you, not complete you. She will add to your life, not become your life. And if she doesn't, then walking away is not a loss. It's alignment, because a man who knows his worth does not stay where he is slowly being diminished. He doesn't argue for attention. He doesn't chase validation. He doesn't sacrifice his peace for temporary connection. He chooses himself every single time. So as you move forward from this moment, remember this not as a set of rules, but as a standard. Never chase at the cost of your identity. Never give everything before it's built. Never control what should be free. And never abandon your purpose for anyone. Because when you live by these truths, you don't just build better relationships. You build a better life, a life where you are not dependent on someone staying, but proud of the man you are becoming. And that is something no one can take away from you. So stand tall, stay grounded, and never forget the right connection will never ask you to become less of yourself to keep it. It will inspire you to become more, always.